What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls around the world? I would like to welcome you back to the Team Zuby live stream. This is the Life is Good, Don't Ruin It stream. I'm going to just hold up and wait for people to join. I know a couple of you have been waiting. Let me know that you can hear me okay. I want to make sure that all is good with the sound and with the audio before we continue onward. So just let me know that you can hear me okay and that you can see me okay. I'll do a couple shout outs for everybody joining, so feel free to drop a message in the chat and I will holler back at you. But let me know that you can see and hear me okay before we get on with anything else. I hope you are all having a wonderful Monday so far. Every week is a new beginning, a new opportunity, a new chance for greatness. So make sure you don't squander your days. Make sure you don't squander this week. It's all about progress. It's all about finding opportunities and seizing them. Awesome. People are saying that. Awesome. People are saying it sounds good. Shout out to TK. Shout out to Sue, Wattles, Banquo Parish, Max, 242 Assembly. Lots of people. Okay, everyone can hear me okay. People can see me okay. Thank you very much for tuning in. Thank you very much for tuning in. There's a few things I want to talk about on today's live stream. You see the title. It's Life is Good, Don't Ruin It. I want to talk about how life is good, why life is good, and why you shouldn't ruin it, and how it seems like a lot of people are going out of their way actively to try to ruin it. I want to talk a little bit about something following on from what I discussed last time. You know, if you tuned into last live stream or you watched the replay, you know that I was talking about the idea that we should not combat hatred with hatred, and I was seeing a lot of people doing that. In light of this, over here in the UK, but even internationally, you may have seen that the rapper, grime artist Wiley has been posting a ton of anti-Semitic stuff on his Twitter and on his Instagram. I think this was like 3 or 4 days ago now. He just had this whole day where he was just posting all of this crazy, crazy stuff. And this is coming off of the heels of the whole Nick Cannon situation, which I discussed in the last time, talking about how, you know, racism and bigotry can run in all types of directions, and how if we want society to get better, then we can't be trying to fight racism with more racism and prejudice with more prejudice, hatred with more hatred, etc. So it's kind of crazy how that happened just a few days after I was just talking about this with another really high profile person. So I want to talk about that a little bit. Then I want to talk about gratitude. I want to talk about some ways that why gratitude is why it's important and how you can practice it in your life. I'm going to stop headbutting my mic with my cap if I can as well. And I also want to give you guys some updates on things that are going on, things I'm working on in terms of merchandise and the podcast and just future plans in general. So as usual, I'm going to be opening it up with a Q&A. If you want to make sure that I get to your question, then you can drop a super chat and I will prioritize you. But there's no obligation to make a super chat. Only do it if you want. Of course, any money goes to help support my channel, help to support my music, my podcast. If you enjoy what I do and want to support it, feel free to drop a super chat, but no obligation. So I am going to open the floor right now. If you have any questions for me, drop it in the chat. I'm going to spend about 10 minutes. I'm going to go through the questions for up to 10 minutes, and I will see what people are saying. So I'm going to start out with a super chat. We've got the very first super chat of the stream right here, and this has come from Parag Shah. So he wrote, "Hey man, oh gosh, I've just messed up my screen. 1 second." He wrote, "Hey man, we met at the Sargon Dankula live show. I was the guy with your hoodie. Love your appearances on Trigger and Brett's podcast. Keep it up." Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. I do remember meeting you, man. So thank you. I hope you've been doing well during this whole past few weeks. That was past few months. I mean, that show with Sargon and Dankula, that was actually the very last live event that I did prior to these lockdowns and the COVID madness. So who knows when we're going to be able to do live events again, whether that's live music or live talking, stuff like that. But when that time comes, I look forward to it. And thank you very much for the super chat, Parag. I appreciate it, man. So I'm going to have a quick look here and see what is going on in terms of questions. If you have a question, shout out to everybody just joining the live stream right now. I'm opening up for a Q&A for the next 8 minutes or so. So if you have any questions, feel free to drop them. First one, will you ever diss Ben Shapiro? No, I like Ben Shapiro, so I would not diss him. He's a good guy. This is a question from Bank Doge, Dank Doge. Do you think hydroxychloroquine would have worked to help COVID-19 deaths? I have no idea. I am not a medic, and I am not going to talk about stuff that I know nothing about. Where are the questions? Where are the decent questions? These are okay. Someone ask an interesting question. Okay, let's see. Manny the Man, as a smart black man from Ireland applying to Oxford for maths and computer science, from your experience, do you have any advice on how to get accepted? Okay, maths and computer science. So that's pretty much what I studied. I'm a computer science graduate from Oxford. Do I have any advice on how to get accepted? Wow. I mean, of course, when it comes to your grades, I assume you're doing A levels, or, ASs, A2s. Of course, make sure you smash them. Make sure you get straight A's and everything. And then just be as prepped as you can be. If you get past the first stage in Oxford, you're going to get invited to do some interviews, and the interviews are hard. The Oxford interviews are tough, and they're quite difficult to prepare for as well. It takes a lot of, you don't know what they're going to throw at you. So the best I can offer is to do your best in all your exams and then just be prepared as you can for any upcoming interviews. Make sure that you are just well rested and fresh and are prepped, all right? And you will be, because if you're doing exams, you'll already be in that mind state. But I wish you the best. I do wish you the best with that. Someone's asked, "Hi Zuby, we'd like to extend an open invite to collaborate on our Freestyle Friday comedy rap show. Interested?" I don't know. If it's not paying, I probably will have to decline it because I can only prioritize paid stuff because there's a lot of demand on my time right now. But feel free to email me at zuby@zubymusic.com and I will see what I can do. Question from Jonathan. How do you feel about the British monarchy and how it's lost all accountability? I have no feelings about the monarchy. I don't really care about it. I'm not anti-monarchy and I'm not super pro-monarchy. I just don't really care. It doesn't affect my life whatsoever. So I don't really have any strong opinions on that. Next question from Luke. How do you deal with the constant untruths which are peddled online in the media, e.g. protest in Portland? How do I deal with it? Again, I don't care. I combat it if I need to. Like, if something is going on which I think is worth me commenting on or speaking about, then I'll comment on it and I'll speak about it. Sometimes it'll be on a live stream, sometimes it'll be on my social media, sometimes it'll be on a podcast, etc. But I can't afford to pay attention to everything that goes on in the world. I don't watch the news. I don't watch TV. I don't read newspapers. I just get the information. I get more than enough. I get more than enough information without even directly looking at any of those channels. If something is important that's happening in the world, then I will see it. I'll see it online, or I'll talk to someone in real life and they'll tell me about it. But I don't think it's healthy nor productive to be plugged into all of this stuff all the time, especially on an international level. If something's important and I know about it, then that's good. But it's easy to waste your whole life just worrying about random crap that doesn't really matter to you. That's the reality, and it's a great way of procrastinating. So I try not to do that. I try to be as productive as I can be. Next question. This is from Max. Hey Mac. Okay. Hey Zuby, it's Max. Hope you're well. I ordered an OK Dude cap on Thursday and got a confirmation email. I haven't had a shipping email as of yet. Do you know when they'll be shipping? It'll probably be in the next few days. The OK Dude hats, some of them have taken about, because those ones, depending on which ones you order, they're either going to be shipped out from the Europe or from the US. I don't directly handle those because of the process. So with some of them, it's taken about a week for them to ship out. Other ones, it's just been a couple of days. But if you ordered on Thursday, then by the end of this week, you should be getting a shipping email. And when you do, that'll come straight to you. So don't worry about it. I have seen your order. It will come through. Next question here. TK, first David Starkey and now Wiley. Is lockdown driving people crazy? So this is responding to, so David Starkey also had some racist comments against black people, and then Wiley had racist comments against Jewish people. Is lockdown driving people crazy? I don't think it is, man. It's just, we're going to talk about this a little. We're going to talk about this in more detail, but I don't think it's all about the lockdown, right? Being in lockdown doesn't turn people into racists, but if they already are, then there are certain factors at play in society which might bring them out right now. So that's my thought, but I'll talk about that a bit in some more detail. Question from Alexander. Zuby, are you going to drop any new albums? Yes, 2021, I will be dropping a new album. I'm telling you that right now. Zuby, what are your thoughts on the Redskins name change in the NFL? Do you think it's representative of the Native American people? Have you looked into the story much? I think they should keep the name the Redskins and they should change their logo to a potato. That's what I think. The Washington football team is a crap name, and most Native Americans were not offended by the name Redskins. But they can just change the logo, and they can rep the potato people. Next question here. We've got from Parag. What happened to the Year of Zuby album on Spotify? I actually had to pull it down because it had a couple mistakes in some of the metadata, so it's gonna go back up. But I'm glad you actually noticed that, because that's a sign that you're properly checking up on my music. But it will go back. It was just if there's any issues with the track titles and names and featured artists, etc., on Spotify, iTunes, etc., you have to pull down the whole album and you have to change it, and then you have to re-upload it. So it's in the process of that. So I'm going to take a couple more questions. Like I said, if anyone wants to drop a super chat, then it will be prioritized, but no need for that unless you want to support, but support is always appreciated. From Jessica, with COVID disrupting schooling and having to do distance learning with my third grader, I'm thinking about schooling. How do we improve public schools in the USA? Where do we begin? Wow, I'm here in the UK, so I don't know that much about the US public school system. Anything I say would be just sort of repeating what someone else is saying. That said, I don't think homeschooling is a bad idea. I think homeschooling is actually a fantastic idea. I think more people should homeschool. I know that there's a lot of trash in the public school system, and I don't know. I've heard a lot of talk about school choice being potentially a good thing, but I'm honestly not an expert on that. I'm not an expert on it in the UK, let alone in the US, so I don't know. I just can't really speak on that much and say anything remotely intelligent. It's a question from, we got a super chat from Tall Person, sent £2. Thank you. Did you see the Tommy and Sarah debate? No, I haven't seen it yet. I have been linked to it, but I have not seen it yet. But I will try to check that out when I get a little bit of time. Got another super chat here from Hi All, sends £5. Okay, dude, do you think the action of BLM and Antifa could start a race war in the USA with all the killing going on? Geez, that's heavy, man. Do I think it'll start a race war? No, because I don't think most people are stupid enough to want to. I don't think people don't want war, man. People want to get on with their lives and live well and be happy and have careers and look after their families. And, only complete weirdos want to even get involved in any kind of civil war or race war or anything like that. I believe that there are people who are so, I think there are people trying to aggravate things so much that it goes in that direction. And these are the kind of people who I speak out against constantly. But I don't think that the masses of people who are good and decent and willing to get on with their neighbors and, just be normal, I don't think people are going to get on board with that. So look, if the idiots who want to race bait on like the extreme ends of the spectrum, if they want to go and like fight each other and go off to some island or something, like I've said many times before, like I don't really care. Like we don't need them in society. If they want to go and do that and like, destroy themselves, then they have my permission, but just don't bring it to normal, kind, decent people such as ourselves. That's my personal view on it. But thank you very much for the super chat. It is appreciated. We got another super chat here. This one is from Vanessa. Thank you very much, Vanessa. Sends $4.99. She hasn't got a question, but just simply says, thank you for always being a positive light in the world. Thank you very much, Vanessa. God bless you. I appreciate that. That is lovely. Okay, I'm going to just do a quick look at a couple more questions, and then I will get straight into the first topic that I want to talk about. This is another super chat here. Humbleman13 sends $10, and he writes, thank you for calling out racism, no matter who is saying it. You're welcome. You're welcome. I think it's the right thing to do, isn't it? It's simply the right thing to do. And I'm a man of principle. I'm a man of ethics. I do my best. And so, look, if something is wrong, as I've said many times, if something is wrong, then it's wrong in all directions. And I'm not into making excuses or providing cover for someone for doing something that's genuinely reprehensible or saying something that's genuinely reprehensible. As a free speech advocate, they have the right to say it, but they also are going to get criticized. You know, we can all use our free speech to criticize people who are spreading terrible ideas or being evil towards people. And yeah, I'm going to talk about that soon. We got another super chat here. Thank you very much. A second one from Tall Person sends £5. I'd like to talk to you about a business thing. If I gave you my number, will you call me? If you like the business idea, we could do it together. This is firstly, thank you for the super chat. This is very ominous. Drop me an email at zuby@zubymusic.com. Let me know some details. I don't just give my number out to people like that. But yeah, drop me an email. Let me know more about it. And like I'm piled up with work at the moment, but if it's something that resonates with me and I can potentially help with, then that's the best starting point. You can drop me an email. And thank you very much for the super chat. It is it's appreciated. Thanks again to everybody who's tuning in. We got well over 100 people tuned in now. And soon I will be talking about various issues. But if you're just coming in, then any super chats, I will always get to them. And I'll also try to respond to people, even if there aren't super chats, but it will be time dependent. The next question. Okay, so another super chat here from Lewis. Thanks, sends £4.99. Thank you so much, Lewis. He wrote, "Did you ever record Gavin McInnes interview?" Yes, we did. I did record with Gavin McInnes. That interview came out a couple months ago, in fact, but it came out on, I think it's censored TV, and I think that it's paywalled, so I think you have to be a member. I think you have to be a subscriber to the platform if you want to see that interview and listen to it. I don't have the interview myself. I don't think it's on YouTube or anything like that. You have to go to that channel and subscribe if you want to see it. There we go. Okay, guys. So I'm going to open up the Q&A later on, but the first topic I want to talk about is this whole situation leading on from my from my previous live stream where I talked about not fighting hatred with hatred. In the past week, this has been a big story here in the UK. I don't know how international it is, but there is a very well-known rapper in the UK called Wiley. He's been in the scene for over 20 years. He's released huge amounts of material, singles, mixtapes, albums. He's had I think he's had 2 number 1 songs as well. And yeah, on Thursday or Friday, he just woke up in the morning and decided to write some tweets that Hitler would have been very proud of. You know, never go full Hitler. If I can give you guys some advice in life is, yeah, online, real life, whatever, never go full Hitler. Like, don't go full Hitler. So I don't know what brought this up, what possessed him to do this. Like, the guy's a bit of a loose cannon as it is, but he was just posting all of this anti-Jewish, like hateful, anti-Semitic stuff, like multiple tweets, dozens and dozens of tweets and replies, and he put it on his Instagram as well. And this was just very, very strange, really, really bizarre. Like, it's just weird. I mean, over the past couple weeks, over the past couple months, there's been, I don't even know, like, there's just so much weird stuff going on, isn't there? Like, there's a lot of weird stuff going on, and it's not good. You guys know I'm not a fan of the BLM organization. I've spoken about this before now in several interviews and things. And there's this weird idea. A lot of people, as I said in the last one, you've got a lot of people who are trying to fight hatred with hatred. And people are trying to hide behind this guise that only certain people can be racist, or only, you know, it's okay in some directions, but it's bad in other ones. And I really hammered this home in the last time, so I don't want to dwell on this too much, but it's just kind of, it's weird. In one hand, I'm kind of glad that it's coming out so that we know who is harboring these views. Because look, if someone is, especially if someone is in the public eye and they have these views, you know, it's like, okay, like it's kind of good to know about them. But at the same time, it's like, it's disturbing that people have these views. And it's not so much, I find it more disturbing when you're getting people who are agreeing with it, sort of, than the individual who's saying this. So really high profile ones have been, you know, the Nick Cannon thing. and now this Wiley thing, which have really both blown up. These are two very prominent black entertainers who are, successful, who have audiences and people they work with and people they collaborate with who are of of all races, of all ethnicities, etc. These people have been in the game for decades. They know the deal. They know that not any group of people is all bad or whatever. So for them to just like go all out, guns blazing on any demographic, it's just stupid. It's really, really stupid, and it's such a huge step backwards. It's quite disappointing, I don't know either of these two people personally, but I don't need to just like I mean, it's good that people condemn the action and condemn the words, but it's just bizarre, Like it's weird. This is the thing with human beings. It's like we'll be moving forwards, right? We'll be moving forwards, and then they suddenly want to take like just a huge step backwards. And at the same time, people are trying to take a step backwards while taking a step forward. So they'll be saying Black Lives Matter out of one side of their mouth, and then on the other hand side of their mouth, they're saying, F white people or F Jewish people or whatever. And I'm just like, no, no, right? I've got a real simple rule with all these things. Like I've said before, if you can replace the words with another word and it sounds hateful, then it's hateful, right? If you can replace the word, if someone is saying something that's racist against white people or racist against Jewish people, if you replaced it with, Arabs or Asians or black people, etc., would it sound horrible? If it would sound horrible, then that's because the statement itself is horrible, right? It's I don't know, like we really we should be totally past this point. So it is just disappointing to see people who really should know better, people with big platforms, people with a lot of fans, followers, people who look up to them, to just succumb to this stuff, man, And it's just like, why? Like, how is that helpful? Like, how did Wiley wake up in the morning and think, oh, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go on Twitter and I'm gonna just like go all out on the Jews. I'm gonna like write some stuff that would make if Hitler were on Twitter, Hitler would have been gleefully retweeting Wiley. And it's like, really? Like, why? What did you think you were going to achieve? And why is this the stuff you even believe in to begin with? I know there's lots of weird fringe views. I do know where some of this stuff comes from, like the sort of theory behind it. I have looked into some of this garbage. It's not new. It's been around for many, many decades. And but it's garbage, and a lot of it is pseudoscience nonsense. A lot of it is conspiracy theories, and it's generally peddled by people with hate in their hearts. So that's not what is. It's just not good, It's just not good. But yeah, there's not too much to say on that. I dwelled on this a lot in the last one, and in this episode, I want to talk about life is good, because life is good. Life is good. We live in a really weird time where, by many measures, things are better than they've ever been, right? The world is better than it's ever been. There's less poverty in the world than ever, less starvation, less disease and pestilence in general, despite the coronavirus thing, less wars. You're far less likely to die in a war or of any sort of violent death than your ancestors would have been. The GDPs of countries in general has been rising for the past several decades. Crime rates are dropping. Technology is advancing. We live in such wonderful and prosperous times. If you're alive, especially if you're in the Western world in the year 2020, things are, your ancestors would think you're in heaven. Regardless of what's going on, like your ancestors would think that they died and they'd gone to heaven. And I think things have been so good for such a long time that it's very easy to lose perspective and lose track of this and to lose gratitude. And gratitude is so important. I think gratitude is incredibly important, and people really underestimate it and people underrate it. And when I'm talking about gratitude, I'm talking about being grateful for the things that you have. And it's a real big mindset shift to focus on what you are grateful for than to focus on the things that you don't have, but that you want or that you think you want. And the former mindset is so much more positive, and it will lead you to living such a happier, more successful, more fulfilling life if you are focused on the things that you do have, what you have to be grateful for. Your health, elements of safety, security, your body, family, friends, your work, things to look forward to, opportunities, etc. There are so many things, especially when you compare to people in the past in history, or you compare to people in certain parts of the world where there is genuine oppression going on, there's wars, there's violence, there's, places rife with disease, places where the political systems are so corrupt that people are just kind of stuck. And in the modern West, even if things are not going perfectly for you, I can guarantee you that you are still far better off than almost 90, I don't know, 95, 98% of people who have ever stepped foot on planet Earth all throughout history. We are some of the most blessed, most privileged, least oppressed people with the longest lifespans, best technology, safest environment. It's amazing. Like, it's really amazing. And when you focus on that and the things to be grateful for instead of the things to just complain about. Look, I understand the appeal of complaining, right? We all know things can be better. We all know that our lives are not perfect and there's things that we want but we don't have, etc. But if you think about the things to be grateful for, then it's amazing. And everything you have that is positive, there's somebody who doesn't have it and who wishes they had it, right? Not everybody has a roof over their head. Not everybody has an expensive microphone and a Wi-Fi connection and fans who want to listen to me live stream. I'm grateful for that. I'm moving my hands. Not everybody has hands. Not everybody has arms. Not everybody can hear. Not everybody can see. Not everybody can smell. Not everybody can taste. Not everybody can talk, right? You got people in wheelchairs. I've got all my limbs. All my limbs are working. I've got a family. I've got friends. I've got a career that I love. I've got opportunities. I have safety. I have, I've got the opportunity to travel. I've got so many things in the world. I could go on forever. I could do a live stream of just things I've got to be grateful for. Clean water. I turn the tap on and water comes out. Infinite, just clean water like magic. There's millions of people, maybe billions of people around the world who don't have that, right? There's a toilet there, running water. Billions of people don't have toilets, right? Just things we totally take for granted. Even in the UK, I mean, if you were to go back, like, I don't know, 100 years, 100 years plus, what percentage of people had toilets, right? People were throwing their dung out. People were throwing their crap literally out of the window because people didn't have flushing toilets. Like, there were all these diseases. It was horrible. It was disgusting. It would have been stinky and nasty. And man, like, we live in like magic land. We live in like the craziest, like the most prosperous time, and when you recognize that and it really sort of clicks for you, I promise you will just see the whole world differently. Every time you find yourself complaining about something that's really not worth complaining about, you'll find yourself kind of like, pinching yourself and sort of chastising yourself and thinking, look, man, sure, I could complain, but I have so many more things to be grateful about than to complain about. And so that's something that I think is powerful. And two things I like to do, especially when I'm in sort of like complaining mode, or I'm caught up with my own problems or my own struggles or whatever, is I try to do two things. Number one is I zoom out, right? So imagine that you're sort of all up in your own head and you're looking at everything in your own life or whatever. But if you just zoom out, right? If you imagine just like sort of stepping away and zooming out and looking at your problems in the grand scale of things that are going on in the world, you realize that your problems pale in comparison, right? There are people out there who are in slavery. There are people being trafficked. There are people who are suffering from cancer. There are people who have all sorts of horrible, unfair diseases and disabilities. There's people in war. There's people who are victims of violence and crime and governmental oppression and suppression. There is all of this stuff going on. And so, you know what? The fact that they ran out of your favorite cereal in the store, or your Wi-Fi went down, or I don't know, even if you had an argument with your girlfriend or your boyfriend or whatever, it's like, in the grand scheme of things, if you look at the world as a whole, if you look at the universe as a whole, then you realize like, man, my problems are very minor. My problems are very minor. And yes, of course, you should strive to solve them, and you should strive to make your life as wonderful and fulfilling as it can be. But if you are able to zoom out, then it gives you that sense of perspective, and you'll just feel so much more grateful for the things you have. And you might find that the things you're complaining about are things that you should be grateful for, right? You're grateful. The fact that you can even complain about them shows how lucky you are, right? It shows how blessed you are. It shows how much opportunity you have there. Another thing you can do besides zooming out is something I was doing just earlier, right? Which is just counting your blessings, you know? You can literally grab a piece of paper or just close your eyes and think about the most minor things, right? From your fingers to your just all the things you have to be grateful for. Think of just all the things you have to be grateful for. And if you do that on a regular basis, then yeah, things will just be a lot more positive for you. So that's what I want to say. I'll touch on this a little bit more. But what I'm going to do right now, we are about halfway through the live stream. I normally go for about an hour. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the second wave of the Q&A. So if you have any questions, please drop them in the comments right now. If you want to drop a super chat, I will prioritize your question. And after I've hit any super chats, I will try to get to everybody else's question. So if you've got a question, drop it now, and I will try to get to it in the next few minutes. While we are on the topic of life being good, I'll give you guys some updates about some wonderful things that have been happening for me personally. So last few weeks, this whole month has been fantastic for me. Sold hundreds of copies of my book, which has been great. I've been working with a bunch of brand new clients with my fitness coaching, life coaching, social media coaching. Been making a lot of deals. I've just got confirmed a new sponsor for the Real Talk with Zuby podcast. Working on getting a whole bunch of great new podcast guests. I've been featuring on a lot of big podcasts. My podcast with Brett Weinstein came out the other day. It looks like it's already approaching 100,000 views on YouTube in just 2-3 days, which is fantastic. People are loving that conversation, making new fans, selling lots of merchandise. Like July has been a big blessing for me, man. July's been blessed. Personal life, things are going well. So despite this situation, as I've said, I could be sitting here complaining about coronavirus, complaining about lockdowns, complaining about the fact that I had to cancel 3 trips to the USA already. Stuff is not perfect, but you just got to keep on going. There's always things to be grateful for. So I'm opening up the Q&A right now. If you guys have any questions, then feel free to drop them. And okay, here we go. Wow, this is not a question, but Sean has just sent a $49.99 super chat. Thank you so much, Sean. God bless you, man. I appreciate that. Thank you so much for the support. That's very generous of you, very kind, and I seriously appreciate it. Thank you so much. Shout out to Sean. This is not a question here, but Winter's Eyes just wrote, I really needed to hear this today. Thank you. I need to start a gratitude journal. You're welcome. I'm happy if anything I say resonates with you. I love, I want to always be inspiring and motivating people. And yeah, there's a lot of power in that. Someone here has just said, this is 10,000% true. I've done this lately and I feel a lot happier. Honestly, it will make you feel happier. You will it's like a mental shift. And we tend to gradually slip into negativity. So what those two things I said, right? Zooming out and counting your blessings. These are things that you can do on a daily basis or a few times a week, even a few times a day. And it'll have an impact, right? And when you find yourself just getting in that negative mindset and thinking, man, life sucks, people suck, everything is going badly, etc. If you just sort of take, 5 minutes and just do both of those things, zoom out, look at your problems in the grand scheme of the world and the universe and realize how minute they are, and then also just think about all the things you still have to be grateful for, then you'll snap out of it. You'll come out of it in a much more positive mindset. And when you're in a positive mindset, you'll treat people better too. You'll treat yourself better. You'll treat your body better. You'll treat your mind better. You'll treat other people better. By you being in a positive mindset, that's important because it allows you to help other people. If I came onto this live stream and I was in a really negative mindset and I was angry at the world and I've had hate in my heart and I just was harboring all this resentment, etc., then I can't motivate anyone on the live stream. I can't inspire anyone. I can't talk about all this positive stuff if I myself I'm in a very negative mindset. And this happens, we're all constantly sending ripples out into the world, right? The energy you put out there, it comes right back at you. So I'm sure you've noticed when you're in a positive vibe and you're giving other people positive vibes and you're smiling and you're happy and you've kind of got that bounce in your step, good things happen to you, right? People smile at you. People want to talk. You make new friends. You make new connections. You go that little bit harder on everything you're doing, and it all spirals upwards. Similarly, if you get in a really negative mindset and you're angry and you're feeling sad and you're just worried and anxious, etc., it goes out to other people, right? It's the fear spreads, the worry spreads, the misery spreads, etc., and you just kind of go on this negative downward spiral. And a great way to break that spiral is to practice gratitude. And if you practice gratitude, then I assure you, it's like a right. And I'm not on some like weird woo woo healing crystals like sort of some pseudoscientific stuff. I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about like human psychology. So when I'm talking about like the vibes you're putting out there, I don't mean that on some sort of weird esoteric level. I just mean like the body language, what radiates off of you, and also your ability to see opportunities, right? You can spot opportunities much better depending on what mindset you're in. So you might see, oh, okay, there's an opportunity there. Whereas if you're in a negative mindset, you just miss it, or you might even think that opportunity is some sort of a challenge or affront to you. But if you are in a positive mindset, you twist that and you can use that into something that's positive for you. Let's see, got a few more questions here. So from Brutal Noodles, what do you think of the declassified information by Pentagon about off-world vehicles? This is like the UFO thing. I haven't looked into it in much detail, but it sounds like a lot of the stuff that Bob Lazar was talking about on Joe Rogan podcasts and others is got some truth to it. Look, I'm no conspiracy theorist, but I think there is definitely a ton of stuff that various governments have and know about, which we do not have a clue about, right? What that has to do with like UFOs or aliens or whatever, I do not know. But there is no question that there's like a whole bunch of information that is known, but we just don't know it. I have no doubt about that. There's all kinds of stuff that that never gets to us, the layman on the everyday ground, on the ground every day. I don't even know what I'm trying to say, and that wasn't supposed to rhyme, but it did. Okay, let's see a few more questions here. If you got a question, feel free to drop it now. I will try to get to it in the next 7 minutes or so. And then I've actually talked about quite a lot of the things I want to, but I want to follow on a little bit with the life is good theme. And I want to talk about the don't ruin it part a little bit more. Jonathan writes, how important is Christianity in the West? I think it's more important than people think it is. Dwell on that one. Let's see what else we got here. This is a question from Monica. What is your most valuable insight on life in Saudi Arabia that highlights the theme of gratitude for the lives we lead in the West? Wow, that's an interesting question. I would say one of the best things about the West is that you truly have, I know that people, this is weird in light of a lot of the conversations that have been going on in the past few months, but the West is by all measures the least oppressive part of the world, I think, in any factor. So what I mean by that is whether you are a man, a woman, whatever race, whatever ethnicity, gay, straight, whatever sexuality, like people are very, very tolerant of that. Not just the people in the society, but the laws, the rules, the regulations, the governments, etc., right? Nobody is gonna, no matter who you are in terms of these characteristics, etc., you can make it, right? You can work hard, you can be good at what you do, and you can have a job, you can run a business, whatever, and you're not going to face huge amounts of discrimination. Very unlikely at any legal level, but even on a societal level, people are very open-minded with stuff like that. in lots of parts of the world, that is not the case, right? There are certain groups, whether that's a racial group or an ethnicity or people of a certain sexual persuasion or maybe even a gender or whatever, where it's, there's not that real equality of opportunity and fairness of treatment. And so in the Middle East in general, also, in certain parts of most of the world, in certain parts of Asia, certain parts of Africa, etc. Depending on who you are, yeah, you might have opportunities if you're in this group, but if you're in this group, you may face discrimination and some challenges and some hardships, etc. So I would say that is one of the big things that the West has gotten right. Do I think the West gets everything right? No, no, I don't. Right? There are things that I think Saudi Arabia does better than the West, and people are shocked. People tend to be shocked when I say that. But I think that there are things that every culture, society, and nation can learn from each other. As someone who's grown up in a lot of, in a few different places and seen lots of different cultures, in terms of me shaping my own worldview and my own perspective, I like to sort of cherry pick what I think are the best aspects of each one, and then yeah, that's kind of how I form what I think is the ideal. But it's a really good question, Monica. Thanks for that question. I think it's good, and hopefully that's been a understandable answer. Question from Jude: Who will win the U.S. 2020 election? Oh gosh, I don't know, man. At the beginning of the year, I would have definitely said Trump. I've still got $500 on him, and I'm gonna hold that there. Now I think it's a little bit more up in the air. I think it's a little bit more up in the air. I don't know. I don't really trust polling data. Like, there's a lot of reasons why the polling data may be inaccurate, as it has been in the past. But we'll see. We'll see. I'm not an American. I'm not voting. I don't have a dog in the fight. But I think it could go either way, and I think it'll depend a lot actually on what happens in the next couple of months. So we will see. But whoever wins, just try to hold the country together. Question from Haxering: How was it getting back in the gym? It was awesome. It was fantastic, and yeah, I'll be hitting it again tomorrow morning. Question from Azimuth Coordinator: What kind of music would people be surprised you're into? Um, I mean, I primarily listen to hip hop, but what would people be surprised that I like? There are sort of individual songs in certain genres or certain bands or whatever where I'm like, oh yeah, that song is fire. Oh, I'm trying to think of some decent examples. What would people be surprised that I'm into? I like quite a few Nirvana songs. I like what would people be surprised by? Oh, I don't know. Sometimes there are like the odd like pop songs. There are pop songs or metal songs or rock songs that like I like. Sometimes I just really like a particular song. Like, I might not listen to the whole album or constantly be listening to the artist, but yeah, I can't think off the top of my head of many good examples. Nirvana is a good example because I like quite a few Nirvana songs. But I'm sure there are other bands. Maybe something will come to mind. Let's see. It's got a question here from Kyle. Maybe a bit of a different question, but would you have any advice on how to be more optimistic? I find myself being a pessimist by nature, and I'm working to change that. I think a big one is what I just said regarding gratitude. I think people who practice gratitude tend to naturally be more optimistic because it makes you more optimistic for your own life, and I think that has an impact on how you view other people and how you view the world. Maybe beyond this would be to try to look on the bright side of things generally. Like, I know if you're naturally more pessimistic, that might be hard to do because everything has an upside and a downside, right? And so if you can at least try to acknowledge the upside, and also if you can try to see the good in people rather than the bad in people, then I think that will make you more of an optimist because it's not hard to see the negative in human beings. But human beings are, we're the best thing that exists, and we're also the worst thing that exists, and that's kind of just that's just the truth, really, isn't it? Like, capable of great love and kindness and compassion. We're also capable of great evil, and that's true now. It's been true throughout history, etc. Big scale, small scale, no matter. That's the reality. But if you can try to focus on the positive and see that positive, then I think that's very powerful. Okay, going to get to a couple super chats here. Hi All sends £5. Thank you very much for the super chat. I appreciate it. Do you think with Alex Jones being banned, the mainstream media has took the hill of conspiracy theories? I'm not sure I totally understand the question. Do you think with Alex Jones being banned, the mainstream media has took the hill? Oh, okay. As in, with Alex Jones being gone, are they filling in that gap? Is that what you mean? If so, then I don't know if they're filling in the gap because of it. I don't think it has anything to do with Alex Jones. I just think that there is a narrative that people try to push, and there are various narratives that people try to push. And so, and people have agendas. People have agendas, and especially if there's a financial incentive, which there is with the mainstream media, then people are going to push those agendas and those narratives. And I think that's really what it is. And if that means pushing something that's fake news or bordering a conspiracy theory, then they will do it. They'll be happy to do it. A lot of people don't have scruples and principles. So if you do, then big up to you. That's what I'm trying to cultivate. Got another super chat here. This one's from Lucian Sarkar. Sends $5. Are there any artists outside your genre that you would like to make music with? That's a good question. That's a really good question. I feel like the answer is yes. Who they are, I haven't given a huge amount of thought to. I think there's probably some singers who I'd like to collaborate with. That would be cool. Yeah, I'll give this some more thought. I think the answer is yes. I just haven't spent a great deal of time thinking about who those people would be. But anyone who I'm a fan of, anyone who I think I can make a good song with as well, then yeah, I'm totally open to it. I should probably collaborate a little bit more with singers. But I've got only a few tracks that have singers on them. But maybe on the next album I might have a couple more on there. But we'll see. But thank you very much for the super chat, Lucy, and I appreciate it, man. Got another super chat here from a tall person. I like the username. Another sends another £5. Thank you. He's written, I know you're pro-life. I am too. But would you go so far as to actually criminalize it? Also, what is your view on legalizing recreational drugs? Okay, so we're going for the light stuff here. Jeez. Wow. Okay. Okay. This is a heavy one. Okay. So my position on being pro-life is that it is wrong to it's wrong to kill an innocent human life. It's wrong to take an innocent human life, whether they are born or unborn, regardless of the location, regardless of geographic location. I believe that a human life has value and that lives are of equal value. And I believe it is wrong to take a human life. And even as someone who is relatively libertarian, one thing libertarians do agree on is the role of the government is to protect human life, right? If you don't have the right to life, then we don't have anything. So if we are saying that this is a human life, then, it's wrong to take an innocent human life, and the government should protect innocent human lives. So with that said, barring some, very, very rare exceptions, my honest answer is yes. Does that mean that it would never happen? No, it doesn't, right? There are countries where, abortion is illegal and people still do it, sometimes in safe ways, sometimes in unsafe ways, etc. But just because people will still do something doesn't mean that it should be legal, right? People still rape, people still murder, people still steal, people burgle, people mug people do all kinds of crimes, but those crimes are illegal because they're wrong, right? It's wrong to murder someone just because you don't legalize murder just because people are going to murder people anyway. You don't legalize rape just because people are going to rape people anyway. So in terms of me being consistent with my own views and my ethics, I would have to say yes to that question. Otherwise, I'm not really being coherent otherwise, right? Because that would be saying that some lives matter and some lives don't, and it's okay to terminate some lives, but it's not okay to terminate others. And I'm not comfortable with that position. And I think to be sort of coherent, I think I have to say yes to that one. Another question: what is your view on legalizing recreational drugs? I'll be honest, like cannabis should probably be legal. Like if alcohol and Cigarettes are like, firstly, I'm totally anti-drug, but my stance on drugs, my social stance and my personal stance versus my legal one is pretty different. I think cannabis being illegal, like it's not a fight. I don't smoke. I don't do any drugs. It's not a hill I'm gonna die on, but it should probably be legal. Like it's impossible to make an argument that alcohol or cigarettes are less harmful than cannabis. Like just look at the stats, look at how many people die of these things. Like people don't die from smoking weed. People do die from smoking cigarettes. People do die from drinking alcohol to the tunes of thousands a year, if not, yeah, like many, if not dozens, possibly hundreds of, I'd probably imagine hundreds of thousands of people a year die from these things. So cannabis, that's my view. With other drugs, I think there are like certain super hard drugs, I don't know, like crack, heroin, etc., where I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure about those ones. I know that in places like Portugal, they have legalized them, and it seems like maybe it's had some positive effects, etc. But yeah, I don't know. In a legal perspective, I'm not sure. I know my personal stance on that is very clear. I I don't condone drug use, and I discourage people from using drugs. I don't think it's a good way to go. I think it's a very dangerous path to go down. Even if you think you can sort of handle it, a lot of people think that, and then they end up getting addicted and end up in rehab, etc. I personally know people that that's happened to, and it's how many millions of people in the world does that happen with? So that's my view. In terms of the government's involvement, I don't, I don't know. I don't know. Next question here. Which politics do you find more interesting, US or UK? US. I think UK politics is boring. Someone said, you need to get back on the Joe Rogan podcast again. One of my favorite JRE podcasts. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Considering he's done like, I don't know, 1,500 episodes or something. I'm glad that mine was one of the best ones, that in your opinion. Okay, so feel free to leave a super chat. If there's any super chats, I'm going to talk for about another 10 minutes, I think. If there's any other super chats, I will get to them. What was the last thing that I wanted to talk about? Okay, yeah, the live stream is called Life is Good. So I want to talk a little bit more about that because I think there are a lot of people who are out there in the world right now who are trying to, not a lot of people. I think there are people who are just agitators, right? You got the race hustlers, you got the gender hustlers, you got the sex hustlers, you got like just the hustlers who want to agitate things and make things worse. Some of them are politicians, some of them are people in the media, some of them are activists, some of them are certain groups, etc. And people need to stand up against these people because, as I've said and alluded to most of the time, most people are decent, right? Most people are decent. Most people want to get on with life. Most people don't want to be massively bothered. And so, like, the people who are trying to bait people into these conversations, right? Earlier on, someone was asking, do I think there's going to be a race war? It's like, no, because I don't think people are going to be, people shouldn't be baited into this stuff, right? If you don't care about these things, if this is not a big deal to you or whatever, don't let people make it a big deal to you, right? Don't get involved in, like I said before, you win some games by just not playing them, just by being like chill and being normal and being fair and being kind and being reasonable and being open-minded. Then if you can do that and maintain a degree of separation, then you can stay above the madness and the craziness. And that's important. Because look, the line between civility and chaos and, peace and violence, etc., that line is a lot thinner than people realize, right? It's a lot thinner than people realize. I think people have probably seen this year, right? Whether you're talking about the protests and some of the rioting and demonstrations and violence on the streets, etc., especially in America, seeing demonstrations. I don't even know what's going on in Portland right now. There's just, we've seen this happen in other countries as well, right? Stuff is peaceful, stuff is going okay, and then stuff just goes sideways really quickly in a matter of days, weeks, months, etc. people lose their civility and they start getting crazy and they start fighting each other and people want to go to war, etc. And you need to just not get dragged into it, right? It's good to have it's good to be informed to a degree, but it's also good to have a level of detachment where you're sort of like observing the world rather than getting involved in absolutely everything. You've got to pick your battles. You've got to stand up for what is right. You've got to stand up for what is fair, for what is moral, what is ethical, etc. And you need to be occasionally willing to confront people who are trying to make things worse. It's not fun. I say this from experience. Lots of times I'd rather just chill out and mind my business, and I try to do that for the most part and feed people with positivity and inspire and encourage people through my music and my podcasting and live streams like this and my book and my activities and all of that stuff. That's really the train that I'm on, and that's the train that I'm going to be on my entire life. I'm not trying to fight anybody. I'm not trying to, go out in the street and start any kind of battle or war or whatever. It's just doesn't interest me, man. Like, let the pigeons fight. Like, view yourself as an eagle, and if pigeons are fighting over scraps, then the eagle's chilling, right? The eagle doesn't come down and start fighting amongst the pigeons for the scraps. No, the eagle is going for the eagle's going for the big meat, right? The eagle's going for the big kill. They're trying to get the rabbit. They're trying to, eat properly. They don't want to be fighting pigeons for scraps. So you don't want to be like aloof all the time, but it's good to have a healthy level of detachment where you can just focus on what's important to you, your health, your priorities, your career, your finances, your family, your health, etc. Because that's really and that's really what actually moves the needle, right? The more people to do that, the more society moves forward, because when we're doing that, firstly, we're not fighting with each other, but by improving yourself, you're improving your community, you're improving your nation, you're improving your world. So that's why I'm so big on personal responsibility and, pushing things forward and motivating people, inspiring people, etc. So yeah, that's my thoughts on that. So one more time, for the last 5 minutes of this, I am going to open up the Q&A. If you want to drop a super chat, if you've enjoyed the live stream and you want to help support the channel and my ongoing work, feel free to drop a super chat and I will get to your question or comment. I will prioritize it. But beyond that, I'm going to just go through the chat. And for the next 5 minutes, I'm going to just answer questions and comments. I will be back again next week. Should be back to the normal time next week, 8 p.m. BST on the live stream. I'm going to have a new podcast coming out. By the way, I put out a Real Talk with Zuby podcast with my friend Ruslan, which is a really interesting episode. He's a Christian rapper who is originally from Armenia. He actually came to the USA as a refugee, and he lives in San Diego. He's built up a very successful Christian hip hop music label. He's a creative entrepreneur. He does YouTube videos as well, etc. So we had a fantastic conversation. We spoke about his life story. We talked a little bit about the Black Lives Matter. We have quite different views on it, so we talked about that. And we just spoke about a lot of interesting stuff in life in general. I think it's the longest podcast I've actually done. We just had a real good free-flowing conversation. So if you've got some time and you're curious and you want to check that out, then you can check that out. I also have my episode with Brett Weinstein on the Dark Horse podcast, so make sure you check that out as well. You can find that right here on YouTube. I see a super chat has popped up, so I am going to get to the super chats. All right. This one right here is from Andrew Joyner, £3. He says, super sticker. Thank you. I can't actually see the sticker because I'm not on the main YouTube thing, but hopefully you guys can see the sticker. Thank you very much, Andrew. I appreciate it. Got a £5 super chat from Ifoma. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Dalu. Thank you very much. I appreciate the super chat. Got one here from Sir Chap, sends £5. He just sends a trophy. So thank you very much. So yeah, we got about 2-3 minutes left. I'm just gonna have a look at some of the questions and let's see what we got here. Oh boy, people are asking me. Oh, question from Linda. Okay, hey Zuby, what is your opinion on childhood vaccines? Should we trust mainstream science? I don't know what to believe anymore and would greatly appreciate your input. Man, this is one of those questions where like I don't kind of want to answer because like there's no like solid answer here. I generally like, how would I say? I think generally vaccines are a good idea as long as it's like tested and it's proven and it's something that's been around for a while. Then I think it's a good idea, especially like the basic things, like mumps, MMR, what's it, MMR, mumps, measles, rubella, certain disease, polio. There are certain things, yeah, I definitely think those vaccines should be taking. With stuff that's brand new, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of being a guinea pig myself, but I think that's where things should be voluntary. I'm not a big idea on the idea of sort of mandated vaccines. I can see the arguments on both sides of it. There's something a bit I'm not so sure about that, but I think look, if people are parents and they've got children and they want to make sure they don't get like measles or polio or something, then getting them vaccinated seems like a wise move to me. Because the science has been around for long enough. I think that's sort of been proven. So I'm certainly not an anti-vaxxer. That's for certain. Let's see what else we got here. Someone's asking, would you do a TED Talk or a public lecture? I've done public lectures. I haven't done a TED Talk yet, but I am totally open to doing it in the future. So let's see. I'll answer a couple more questions, and then we will wrap it up. Pikachu has just said, I loved you on Brett's podcast. Hilarious when he wanted to learn about rap. Yeah, it was a really good podcast. Definitely recommend checking that one out. Fun with Flags is asking if I've done a podcast with Jordan Peterson. I haven't yet, but that's one of my dream podcasts. I would love to make that happen. In terms of upcoming guests, I'm currently working on getting Ben Shapiro. I'm working on getting Jocko Willink, and I want to get Brett Weinstein on my podcast as well. And there will be more to come. So stay tuned. That's just a little bit of a heads up right there. Okay. I think that this is, I'm going to do one more question right here because I just see it. Luadeepa, do you think Crazy World ends soon or just gets worse? I think it depends on how people react, right? I think, look, I think in the USA, because they've got this election in November, that stuff is I think the media is going to make sure that people stay amped up and jacked up until November. Beyond that, I don't know. But yeah, that's been this live stream. Life is good, don't ruin it. I hope you have enjoyed it. I want to thank you all. Thank you every single person who has tuned into the live stream. I appreciate it. As I always say, you could be anywhere in the world, but you've been here right now. So thank you so much. Massive thanks to everyone who has dropped a super chat. If you would like to support my podcast and my ongoing work and videos and my music, you can support me at patreon.com/Zuby Music. You can also join the Locals community, teamzuby.locals.com. Join us over there. And that's it for now. And thank you very much for tuning in. God bless you guys. And you have a wonderful day. Goodbye.